What is good, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back, and it is time for a little transfer talk. Talking today about left back being linked with the club and to just wash away a rumor of a striker that's been recently linked. Also, going to be speaking about Patrick Bamford's situation at the football club and just to touch on the FA Cup just a bit as well in this video. Before I do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, drop your thoughts and comments on anything discussed below. Thank you to Pops for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated. Much appreciated, Pops. And listen, big up to all the members of the channel. Salute to each and every one of you. Thank you for that kind of support. It does mean a lot. And if you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description. So moving into the video, and I've got to say, people, just looking around, and I think ever since Daniel Farke did his press conference yesterday, the rumors, there's not many, if any. Nothing that you go, that makes sense to me. There's nothing. The Leeds United, if we're doing business, it is genuinely behind closed doors because there is nothing out there. And I know a lot of you will say, yeah, because we're not doing anything. You may be right. You may be right. But Ben Davies is a name that's cropped up again. This is not the first time with Ben Davies. And a lot of it makes sense with Ben Davies. It's an easy link to make because it is such a Daniel Farke kind of signing, isn't it? He's Welsh. He can play a couple of positions in left back, centre back. And more importantly, he's at Tottenham, who we have a great relationship. So the deal will probably be easy to do. A lot of it makes sense. And I think Ben Davies at this level would be a real good signing. I still think he does a decent enough job in the Premier League when he gets opportunities. The problem with this one, though, is he is currently injured. And it's not a recent injury either. He got injured at the start of December, his hamstring, and he suffered a setback just recently. So that was near the end of December, right? So we're on the 10th of January right now. So he should be back around now. And I think he's still injured. I don't know if Leeds United need to do this kind of deal. Unless his injury issue is completely cleared up, then of course it would be a deal that is definitely worth exploring. He's already got chemistry with a lot of the Welsh guys here, and it would just be an easy fit as a championship level. It would just solidify us as well down the left-hand side. He's still brilliant in the air, still a brave defender, can still put in a decent cross. There's just a whole lot of pluses, but the injury is something that just gives me pause for thought, and that's just because we already have a bunch of fullbacks at the football club that we have to keep monitoring for injury issues. He's played this game, but he may not play the next one. We've already got a few. So I would hope that if a deal can be struck with Ben Davies and Tottenham, that I'm all in favor of it because he's still a good player. He's only 31 years old as well. For some reason, he's been around so long. I thought he was like 33, 34. He's only 31, but he's very experienced and it would be a good signing. But the injury does concern me. But what would you do with Ben Davies? Would you sign him? I think he would fit in seamlessly as long as he's fit. Speaking of a signing that is not going to happen, and we kind of touched on this in another video, and it just makes sense anyway, but Joe Donoghue of the YEP just saying here, reports suggesting Leeds United was serious about a 50 million deal for Middlesbrough striker Emmanuel Latte Lath this month are untrue on several accounts, the YEP understands. And I said it at the time, it makes absolutely no sense. If you're looking to upgrade on the strikers, and if you're looking with an eye towards the Premier League, a 26-year-old that has had 2 decent seasons is not the way to go. We're not in the playoff spot right now. We're not outside the playoff spots where you're looking for that deal just to say, all right, just get us in. We're in a top 2 position where we've got one eye on finishing the season strong and also having an eye on the Premier League thinking, okay, can this player help us in the Prem? And just my opinion, I don't see him helping us in the Premier League. So he's poured cold water all over this rumor. So again, nothing worth talking about. And it wasn't worth talking about for me as well, because I've said before, we've got Mateo Joseph, we've got Joel Peru, and of course we've got Patrick Bamford. And Patrick Bamford, I've got to say this, he's got away with it a little. Because Illan Meslier has been such the focus of the fan base, his recent thing has kind of gone under the radar. We got like Meslier in this hand here, and we're all focusing here. Meanwhile, Bamford's over here doing his usual Bamford thing again. It's like, you got away with it. But I'm not going to go on about Bamford. You guys know my full feelings about this. But the guy got injured in a 20-minute cameo against Blackburn, he hardly did anything. And it's just a common theme with this guy. And I'm just at the point, I've been at the point, but if Leeds United and Patrick Bamford could come to some kind of arrangement before this window's over in order to free him, pay him up for the duration of his contract, come to an agreement with the fee so he can be free to find another club, that would be the most beneficial thing that we can do, because it will give us more money to play with in terms of bringing in, reinforcements for the squad. And it will give Bamford a clean slate elsewhere, which I feel that he's needed for the longest time right now. There is just no pluses to this relationship anymore. He's not a first team starter. When we see him on the pitch, it's you may as well have a traffic cone on the pitch. So if Leeds United can do a deal with Bamford, which is again highly unlikely as well because he's injured right now, so he's not going to want to be a free agent while being injured. So again, I completely get that. But if there is any way that we could come to some arrangement, Leeds United take the lead and be almost forceful in saying, look, we need to strengthen the squad, we want to just pay up your contract, or whatever it is they do for mutual terminations. And he needs to agree it. But I just think it would be beneficial for all parties now so we can move on. Obviously, if we get to the end of the window, he's not going to go anywhere. So then you have to kick the can down the road and then do the mutual termination with 1 year left on his deal in the summer, which is what I said after the last transfer window and he didn't leave. I said, we'll probably do it next summer with 1 year left because it's going to be cheaper to do. But it would just be great if we could just sever this relationship. And just for even more context, and shout out to LUFC Data for this. Since Patrick Bamford picked up an injury versus Newcastle in September 2021, he's been involved in 50% of Leeds matches, okay, 50.6 for accuracy, and started just 23.5. That's September 2021, people, and we're in January 2025. And this is a guy, and I'll always say it because of the stick I used to get for this, but this is a guy where people just they throw their kids under a bus to protect this man, protect him. And he's set to miss the next 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. They will protect this man to the hilt. And the thing is, there's no justification for it. There's nothing. There's nothing to justify the defense that this guy gets from a portion of the fan base. And that's another reason he needs to be let go so they can be free of him as well. It's like a Stockholm syndrome. They think he's the man, but literally in like what, three, going on nearly, this is the fourth year, he's been unavailable. Or in the case of this season, he's not even one of the first choices now. It's Peru and Joseph, rightly so as well. So that just gives you an even bigger picture of how much of a waste of money this guy has been. But as I've said before in other videos, he gets away with it. He gets away with it a lot. Other players in lesser situations wouldn't be getting away with it, but he does get a pass from this fan base quite a bit. But yeah, if Leeds United could do anything, please get it done. Just an update to my lineup for the FA Cup. I did swap out Bogle and I've put in Schmidt at left back. So again, look, it's against Harrogate Town. We've already seen a couple of the cup games yesterday. Sheffield United with 6,000 fans in attendance, losing at home to Cardiff with a much changed side. Had a couple of comments saying about the FA Cup game tomorrow, we don't need to go far in the cup. But I just think that's a poor mentality. I get what people are saying. It's not our priority, and it's not. But we saw Sheffield United just a couple of years ago go to the semi-finals of the FA Cup and get promoted. It is possible. And with this kind of lineup as well, what you're hoping for is that these players, not Roden, not your regulars here, but people that are trying to knock on the door and get into the first team, people that are a little bit out of form, you're hoping that they make an impact to make Daniel Farke think. Because at the moment, Daniel Farke, we know that he's got his set lineups in mind, but what if someone has an outstanding game and makes him think a little? That's what you're hoping for. And as you go through the rounds, obviously, if you keep on getting favorable fixtures, you can keep on putting out the role players. You can keep on putting on the fringe players to make to try and stake a claim. If you get a tough fixture, then it will be good for our better players to go up against that team to see just where they're at. It's a one-off game. See where they're at. But that's why I say, we need to take care of Harrogate tomorrow, and I think we will. And listen, the match reaction link is up already, so if you want to join me after the game to talk about the game, click the reminder, press the like on it, and join me after the game. By the way, in the middle, it's Gilavogi here. He doesn't have an icon for some reason, but yeah, I put Gilavogi and Rothwell in there. And just to finish on for future fixtures, and I guess we'll talk about it when we preview the Norwich game, but Norwich's top scorer, Boris Sands, has been suspended for 6 matches and fined 12 grand for spitting. So he's going to miss the game against Leeds United, which is obviously a big boost for us. And that is it for the video, people. Please like, comment on anything discussed in the video, and I'll see you straight after the match against Harrogate Town, people. Peace out.